For my wife and me today, our grandkids are our life. Once I started talking to you about it, I would keep looking at them. And when I look at them, I genuinely get concerned because I've heard of stories of how predators reach out to kids through various social media.
Hello and welcome to another podcast called The Movement, where we resource, empower and develop leaders in the fight against human trafficking. Today I have a very special guest, Ramesh Anand. Perfect. Good to have you here. I think the most important thing to know about Ramesh is he has interviewed over 150,000 people, and this is the first time he's been interviewed.
Yes, and it's a real privilege.
Oh, it's a privilege for us. I'm really excited to get into you and kind of what you're about inside of this kind of anti-trafficking movement, where that fits in your life. And give us a bit of context. You've interviewed a lot of people. How? What do you do?
And professionally, I have been, since 1979, I've been a global headhunter. I run a global executive search headhunting company.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, I kind of hung up my boots. I have a couple of small companies who said we would like you to give us advice, but otherwise spend most of my time in giving back to the community in best forms that I can.
Yeah.
And traveled across the world trying to find people.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at interacting with individuals. I like to believe that's my core competency.
Great. And we came across you with your radio show.
That's right.
So tell us a bit.
I'm engaged in quite a few things, actually. If I start, I don't know when to end. So please feel free to
I will
interrupt
interrupt.
me.
I'll start coughing or
Absolutely.
something.
So my main passion is rescuing animals. And it's an individual thing. My wife and a few friends helped me, family. And I have rescued over 800 dogs and cats.
Wow.
And found them homes. And this is an individual. We don't collect donations. We don't take money from anyone. I rescue them. Very often I train them and then find them homes.
Really? So you see them, you pick them up, take them in your car, take them home, develop them, get them healthy.
Yes. Either that, or there are people who reach out to me saying they have a dog they cannot take care for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
So they take care of it and then they find them home.
Wow.
But over the years, I've become a good trainer. I train dogs, not as a profession, but when I rescue, I try to bridge the gap.
You've learned how.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful experience, saving animals that need help. And I like to believe that the planet belongs to them as much as humans.
Yeah.
But besides that, like I said, I've been engaged in multiple things. I live in Missouri City, so I was a planning and zoning commissioner there.
Oh, okay.
For about 6 years. When Mayor Anise Parker was the mayor, I was part of her International Trade Development Advisory Board or something. All these fancy titles.
Yeah, you're a pretty fancy
make
guy.
me look good. But I also host a couple of radio shows.
Yeah.
In fact, I had the privilege of having you and Jason on the show.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
It's called Open Forum. A couple of my friends started that over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And they inducted me as one of the co-hosts. And it's the longest running South Asian talk show in the United States.
Oh, really?
And it's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I continue to co-host that.
Yeah.
I also started a radio show called The Flip Side with another friend of mine, which is a very political talk show. I used to be the president of the Indo-American Political Action Committee.
Oh.
I was a president in 2010.
Yeah.
And then things went, and then I moved on.
Yeah.
And then it went quiet, so my friends asked me to come back. So I went back like a bad check, and I was a president, I think in 2021 or 2022 for a year.
Yeah.
So my friend Jagat, who was a founder of IPAC, and I started this radio show called The Flip Side.
Yeah.
It was a very unique radio show where first and third Tuesday we had the progressives, and second and fourth we had the conservatives.
I like it.
So we had State Rep Gene Wu as our co-host for the progressives,
Yeah.
and the Fort Bend County chair, the Republican chair, Bobby Eberle, was our co-host on the other side.
Wow.
And we would have guests, judges, elected officials, and we provided a platform to both sides to share their story.
I like it, yeah.
And we would not judge, because then it allowed people like me, as I would tell them, it's for idiots like me to understand both sides and then come to a conclusion.
Right.
And finally, I started another show which is goes to my generation, where we play old Indian songs
Oh, yeah.
every Tuesday.
Nice.
So we do a bunch of things, like I said.
It's
And
not
finally-
called. It's not called Old Indian Songs.
No,
though.
it is
Okay.
not. And lastly, I started about 2.5 years ago with few friends. I started an organization called I Am for Heroes,
Yes.
which is an Indian American initiative that serves all the U.S. military and first responders, active and veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So my term came to an end in December.
Yeah.
But during that period, I really had a phenomenal privilege to work with active duty and veteran military and first responders, serving them in umpteen ways.
Wow.
Our way of saying thank you.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. So then now your new toy, your
Yes.
new toy is getting involved with the movement. So since
Yes.
we've engaged, we've started talking.
Right.
Specifically, I think on the radio show, we started talking about the Indian community and where trafficking is at risk. And so I think culturally, it's an unspoken subject, trafficking in the Indian community. And so that's really our open door to start this journey. Where are you at on that?
Sure. I'm still toying around with the name.
Yeah.
But having said that, first I really want to thank you for engaging me through the radio show in this very important area that needed attention. For my wife and me today, our grandkids are our life.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife spends the entire week. She retired and decided to spend time with them.
Nice.
And I spend all the time that I can. They're 7 and 9-year-old granddaughters. And once I started talking to you about it, I would keep looking at them. I mean, I know human trafficking, I'm just going to one part of it, and then we can talk about the others that I'm concerned about.
Sure.
And when I look at them, I genuinely get concerned, because I've heard of stories of how predators reach out to kids through various social media. My 9-year-old, I know how she can so easily succumb to predators, and they are so gullible.
Yeah. Any child.
Absolutely.
Forever, predators have done this. It's just that now they have full access.
And so I'm so concerned.
Yeah.
And it's one thing being concerned, one thing if you have the ability to do something, to do it. And by grace of God, having engaged in different forms with local government through my radio show, my other activities, I am very fortunate to have, if not the first, at least within 2 arms reach of most elected officials.
Wow.
And so if I can use that, my reach to the Indian community, there are over 250,000 people of Indian origin that call Greater Houston home. And we can battle trafficking in different forms.
Yeah.
I think I'm very fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah. One of the mechanisms, of course, this you engaged with when we did our Mexican evening. But we do cultural nights, and it's really been a good place, Houston being so international, to engage people, because we're celebrating culture, but also introducing people to that culture or people who have been in that culture. So I think that's probably one of the paths that we're considering. But you kind of have a bigger vision, which I like. So tell me a bit about that.
Sure. So, and like I said, please hiccup or cough if I'm going on and on. So at a micro level, I'm looking the way I'm planning. I already have a team in place. So as you know, the hotel industry, hospitality industry, unfortunately is a space where sex trafficking is used a lot.
Yes.
And I'm fortunate to have the president of the association as a very dear friend of mine, the Motel Association. And I've reached out to him to be part of our team. And so we'll have the Motel Association folks as part of our team in battling human trafficking.
Fantastic.
And the Indian community have, through the year, we have multiple events. Each event we have anything between 3,000 to 10,000 people attending.
3,000 to just another day for you. 3,000 to 10,000 people. What a community.
Yes. So I did that for our veteran thing also.
Yeah.
What we did there was I engaged with the recruiters of the U.S. Marines, Navy, military, Army, and got the recruiters to these places. We paid for the booth. They would engage with the Indian community, ask them to join the military. Now I'm taking it to a different scale where I would work with you and other organizations, and we would set up booths, and we would start talking to the people coming there about trafficking and how it can be knocking at their doors.
Yeah.
This is one area I'm looking at. Of course,
it.
I have a radio show at my disposal whenever we want.
Yeah.
And I intend reaching out to various other places of worship continuously, because within Indian, the Hindus are the larger population.
Yeah.
And in the Hindu faith, we have a festival almost every month.
Yeah.
And when you have a festival, you have thousands of people attending.
A little bit colorful, maybe.
That's right.
It's extremely colorful.
And so I intend having booths out there too.
Beautiful.
Again, to engage, talk to the parents, talk to the grandparents.
Yeah.
And then building within the, since I'm a grandparent,
Yeah.
I intend reaching out to all the seniors and building an army of grandparents
I like it.
who will start talking about trafficking and then educating the parents.
Yes.
My son, daughter-in-law, they are professional. Both my sons are, one's an attorney, one's an accountant, CPA. My daughter-in-law is an attorney. So I intend talking to them and getting them also to engage.
Excellent.
So different forms.
And I think that's what we learn with everyone is we all have lives that intersect with people that and resources that maybe you didn't know you had. You know, I think that's kind of the secret of what we're doing is just reach out and work out who can be involved. And what we do see, and I'm hoping to see more in your community, is that starting to identify it before it happens, which is the best, rather than, you know, my child is missing. What do I do now? Because I think that's really the dream for us, is to always, you know, to start to curb that, how easy it is. You know, kind of historically we had stranger danger, warning children, you know, watch out for strangers. But now we're seeing they're people they either think they know or they do know who are trafficking them, and that's a whole new problem. Yeah.
And David, if I may, when you talk about trafficking, it's not only the sex trafficking we're talking about.
That's right.
And we're talking about labor trafficking.
Absolutely.
Now, there I intend, hopefully I'll be successful, is a lot of entrepreneurs, whether it's the hotel industry, technology industry, they hire people on H-1B and other visas.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of being on the board of a South Asian organization called DAYA. DAYA is a leading organization that battles domestic violence amongst South Asians. So I was a board member there. And what I realized is that when they get people on H-1Bs and other visas, a lot of employers may not even realize that they're engaging in trafficking.
Yeah.
You know, by withholding salaries or not allowing certain movements, they may think, oh, this is very normal in India or wherever I come from. But they
It's
may be in
illegal.
for a surprise that they are committing a more serious offense.
That's right. Yeah, we've seen it. We had a big case in the offshore world. I don't know if you know about that, but it was a construction job, and it was Indians who were being trafficked, and it was the same thing. This was a form of slavery. It's indentured slavery. But it got caught and it got exposed. But it shocked everyone that here in the Gulf of Mexico, a major construction job was operating that way. But I think you're right. I think they're finding out as well in the U.S. that there's a lot more than they knew. That's a whole new area, I think, for building awareness.
I'm part of an organization called IT Serve. IT Serve has over 1,000 small to medium-sized software companies across U.S. as members. And my hope is to reach out to the presidents of various chapters and give presentations to each chapter.
Yeah.
So each like the Houston chapter alone has about 125 companies that are members, and reach out to them and talk about them and explain without realizing they may be committing, they may be indulging in trafficking.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's a fantastic. I mean, there's so many things in all the different areas that you touch, and that's a great opportunity. And anyone listening, you know, wants to get involved. Like, these are places that you can just jump in, and I think hotel motels. We're doing work with the World Cup right now, and we have an event coming up the end of July where we're gathering people from airlines and transportation and hospitality, and everyone's starting to talk about what can we do, try and fight this and do a better job, because World Cup, like all sports events, will draw trafficking. And so, yeah, that's a whole area that I think is interesting that we can continue to spread. And as we're going across different cities, the Indian community is there. There's going to be communities from all of Houston is a great mix of international. But yeah, I think there's opportunity for us everywhere.
And I'm hoping, my hope is if I look at a 1 or a 2 year period, my hope is that we get started in Houston and then replicate this chapter, create chapters in Dallas, Austin, San Jose, wherever there are relatively large number of Indian origin people residing, so that we can spread the message across. Third part that I'm looking at also is how we can battle organ trafficking. I was doing a little bit of reading, and you're more knowledgeable. I understand the United States has not signed some agreement where it still recognizes organ trafficking unless I'm outdated. But I, as a Rotarian, we had a guest speaker who spoke about organ trafficking in China, and it really blew me away.
That it's a big business.
Yes. And I'm hoping we can address that too. But my sincere hope is we can work together with REDM, and I want to thank you for that.
It's a lot of awareness ahead, a lot of things that we have to do. So let's talk a bit about cultural challenges inside of the Indian community. What do you think are going to be your barriers to overcome?
Most families, I don't know about Indian or South Asians, but generally the belief that it can happen to someone else's family, but it will not happen to my child, or it will not happen in my house.
Like there's not a chance it will happen?
No way. But the truth is that the generation gap, if we used to call it a generation gap when we grew up, here it is a lot different, because like I'm a first generation immigrant. And so the belief is if the parent is a first generation immigrant, the child is a second generation immigrant, second generation born here. There's a world of a difference between the psyche of the two.
True.
And given that becomes a major block.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I have seen a lot of kids or parents having a challenge, saying, our kids keep telling us, you really don't understand us because you're still from India. You don't realize what we're talking about. The issue is not that. The issue is if that keeps going on and it's not tackled, the gap keeps increasing. If it keeps increasing, then they go to any shoulder that's available to them. And then you know what happens.
That is the target is vulnerability.
Yes.
And that's a really great way to describe it, that there's a natural separation happening, cultural, where there's adopting of, carrying a culture and adopting a new culture and complete difference, even being able to communicate and understand. So relational breaks, I think that is a challenge. That's a vulnerability. It has to be happening because traffickers are looking for vulnerability. So there's I think we're still to unearth, where a lot of this is happening, but it is happening. We've seen it. We've probably in 15 years seen it in the general community in Houston, where we went from it's not happening to it has been happening from long before when we said it wasn't happening, So we're seeing it in lots of different pockets, and we know it's there. And it's just until it starts to be unearthed or we start to deal with it. We've had about 33 cases that we've gone through where we've found either a child is being groomed to be trafficked, or they have disappeared and we have to go find them. And that's surprising in a fairly small community that we've been able to see it. So we know it's there. And this is going to be a good journey for us. I mean, it's going to be good for going into labor and organ trafficking. These are things around us that we just don't think are there. And I think that's the strategy of the traffickers in the U.S. is they really don't want to be seen. That way we're not concerned about it. And so the counter strategy is exposure, is to let people know here's the risks and here's what you do. Yeah.
When you talk about this, probably about 3 months ago, Indian American kid from Fort Bend County. He was probably the 11th or 12th grade, and one assumes normally it happens to girls. This was a boy, and he had challenges with his parents. Typical you don't understand me kind of an age, and through some form of social media, not the conventional social media, the online game or
Gaming
something.
Is normal for boys.
They got through to him, and they worked on him over a period of time, maybe 3 months, 6 months. But it seems one fine day he was missing. And luckily the parents called the sheriff's department, and they immediately got working. And he was on his way to the Houston Metro to travel out of town to California.
There you go.
And they caught him at just at the right time.
As
and
he was
they could
about
save
to
him.
leave, yeah. You would have
Otherwise,
lost him.
he was not. He was literally being sent out to the state, saying, "We'll take care of you. Don't worry about what will happen to you."
Yeah. And the idea that that's here, I think culturally, I think most Indians are aware of the challenge in India, Southeast Asia. It's generally a challenge that's pretty known. But the idea that here, that's not expected. We're going to hear more of these cases where you just catch it. And I think there's a level of not talking about it because it's, especially sex trafficking, it's a difficult subject. So I'm sure people don't want to know it's there. They don't want to think it's a risk. So that is our challenge, is how do we get to those people in a way that they can hear it?
My hope is to focus both on sex trafficking and labor trafficking.
For sure.
Because from the segment that I'm looking at, if I may call it so, is the communities are affected by both equally. And if they don't address it, they're going to have serious issues. For example, H-1B, H-4 visas is a very common thing among people from India.
So what is that kind of visa? Just so you, what is the rules of that visa?
H-1B visa is typically the professionals who come here on an H-1B visa. It's an employment visa they come on, and they are significant other, wife or husband. They are allowed to come here on an H-4 visa. But on an H-4 visa, they're not allowed to be employed.
Right.
And typically that becomes a challenge. And up to now, I have seen a lot of domestic violence cases based on H-4 visa because they are held under saying, hey, you can't do this, or I send you back, etc., by the spouse.
Right.
But if you look a little deeper, domestic violence is one part, but trafficking is also if the same spouse forces that wife or a husband to either work, cook, do anything under duress, under coercion of not being allowed to do what she wants to do, that becomes trafficking.
Yeah, and
it's a simple.
It is simple, and it's obvious, but someone may not understand it, And you get that. We see the folks we're working with in the UK, they have a similar problem. People culturally come and say, this is normal for my culture. It doesn't matter if that's normal in your culture. We can't do that, here that's not allowed. So,
And it's so important to educate.
It is.
Because mere education can save the entire family. It's not anything else. And as you said, culturally, in India, for example, you may smack some kid on the head. It's not acceptable out here.
Right, it's different. Yeah, and I think and people carrying behaviors from past cultures, it causes kids to separate. Not everyone understands the trafficker is looking for vulnerability and separation. Those are the key attributes that allow them to build relationship. And you described boys, the average age we're seeing is around 8 years old. They're starting engagement with boys. And that's gaming systems for the most part sometimes, but it's also any separation. So what we've described in past podcasts is that when you say no to a child, which is normal, there's someone saying yes out there that they can find who are looking for them. They're looking to find out, what did your parents say no to? And we'll say yes. Oh, they say you're immature, we say you're mature. Whatever it takes, and kids get drawn. I mean, it's the same process for pedophiles forever. Is that they've done this separation. They do this building bonds. Let's push the boundaries. What bad words do you know? It starts down that road. It's just that, but it's much bigger now. Yeah, it's kind of wild. So it's an education process. And how we get to it? I think you already have cultural gatherings, which is great. You have the radio station. We have things that we have places where we can now say, okay, what is the right message to get people engaged? And we'll do some learning, on that journey.
Our plan is we can leverage all the cultural gathering places, whether faith-based or not faith-based, whatever they be.
Yeah.
I've already started talking with, for example, the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, good friends of mine, and see if we can work with them on having events together to engage with people. Also, we've started talking with all the elected officials. In fact, last week I had a call with the DO of Fort Bend County
Nice.
and told him this is what we are doing.
Mm.
And he said, Ramesh, please. Of course, he said, I
Yeah.
can have Rhonda. I said, yes,
Of
of course.
That's true. We're going to have Rhonda on coming later, but yeah, she's a big help in
So,
Fort Bend.
He mentioned Rhonda as part of his team. I said, absolutely. And so we've started talking with him, talked with the sheriff also,
Yeah.
Fort Bend County, talked with one of the deputies, chief of HPD.
Yeah.
So now I'm talking with the FBI. So in my
Excellent.
engagement in I'm for Heroes, I started working closely with the FBI also.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm amazed. I mean, to me, FBI was just 3 alphabets.
Yeah.
But a couple of months ago, a friend of mine, he had some fraudulent bank transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I called the lady in outreach in FBI. And within 1 hour, I had an FBI agent call me saying, sir, how can I help you? And then I introduced the
great.
two. I don't know what happened after that.
Well, and we've seen Homeland Security in the last few years have
Yeah.
become a big part of, able to support when there's trouble, and that network's really helpful.
Yes. So my hope is that we can start engaging with all of them to come educate people. The idea is all about education.
Yeah,
That's the best we can do.
it is, and it's really been our journey because we don't tell everybody everything. It's not shock. It's not extra trauma for everybody. It's really giving them enough information so that they can find a way to see this as part of their life, part of their conversations, and conversations with family members and children, and allow it to be socialized enough that we can be safe and we can stop it. So,
In fact, you gave me a good idea, actually. It might be worthwhile also for us to see if we can have small groups, like the Tupperware
yeah, home
where
groups.
Tupperware sale
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
did.
yeah.
They got small group of people where they meet over coffee and
Right.
talk about this particular issue.
Yeah, finding a way. We had one lady in town. She had a wine tasting group with her friends, and they turned it into a let's talk about this in the middle of that. So there's a lot of things we've learned to become a part of where it's not the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's the whole thing, most people don't want to do that. I don't want to go to an anti-trafficking night. That sounds depressing.
Right.
I'm already got enough stress in my life. But if I'm going to a networking evening, or I'm going to a social something, and it's a small part, and we let people choose to opt in, that really seems to work. We're okay. Tell me more, and we just let people choose the depth of their learning, which is kind of why the podcast is. We realize people want to go deeper, but we don't go deeper in the general gatherings, and that allows people to choose a path of learning, to learn more about it. So,
And I think it's wonderful, the podcast that you're doing. I did watch a few, and
yeah,
they're really amazing.
we're doing a mix of us who are involved, and then people who are like deep involved, and so you get to hear a bit of how can I see myself there, as well as how what's actually going on, and there's a lot to learn.
And through your podcast, David, if there are any people of Indian origin who would like to engage,
Mhm.
I'll be delighted to hear from them.
Perfect. And I think that's really the ask here of people listening, is if you've got that connection and this is a natural for you, then we have lots of ideas of things we can do. So we'll find a way to engage and get people to be a part and really change the world. We talk about that. We talk about how it's hard to do big things, but it's not hard to do the thing that you can do. And that's really all we ask of people.
I'd like to borrow an analogy, actually. As I mentioned earlier, I rescue dogs. So one of the things that we always be careful, we tell people to be careful, is when they try to find a home.
Mm.
They have this people who engage in dog fights,
Mhm.
and they use what they call bait dogs.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into too much depth
Yeah,
of
it's
that,
horrible,
but
yeah.
the important thing is they're not great people, they're bad people.
Mhm.
But when they visit a family, let's assume I have a dog that is looking for a home, the couple would come to my door or come meet me, and they would look like an average, wonderful couple, and you would say, oh, shoot, this is a perfect couple for my dog.
Yeah.
I need to adopt out to them.
Yeah.
But then when I do a due diligence, I realize they're not the right
Mhm.
guys. I like to believe that the predators for trafficking are very similar to this couple.
They are.
Because on the face of it, no, you can never make out
Can't
who is a
tell.
predator.
That's right.
And also, so it's very important for people to realize, educate their children, educate
Yeah.
the parents as we go along.
Yeah.
And if I may add, just in the passing, is I've started engaging with the Fort Bend ISD. I've been lucky to know a few of the Footband ISG trustees.
Uh-huh.
And I spoke with them, and I want to see if we can engage with them also
Yeah.
to see if we can use their classrooms, etc., to educate
And we
children.
have
I'm pretty sure you
materials.
do.
We have materials. We do it in Dallas. So the Dallas organization, they work with the schools there. And there's an organization called A21, so a21.org. You can just download their content and you can use it in schools. We have not seen that in Houston at all. We've not adopted it, but there are tools out there that don't cost that we can adopt in talking to different age groups and how to talk to them. So there are resources, but we do have to go there. We have to get, it's probably the number one thing that parents say is, how do we get into schools? And I'm like, it's complicated. But for us with Red M, it's always, you want to do that, then please let's get it done. You know, so if same of anyone who's watching and wants to get involved, you got an idea, bring it to us. Like we'll facilitate, and that's kind of how we make it work.
I wore blue for a purpose. Hopefully, I'll have a blue mug with something blue for our organization name.
Yeah, it's the color of trafficking, of fighting trafficking.
Fighting human trafficking.
Yeah. Everyone's like, "Why are you red?"
Yes.
It's like, well, we're red because we needed to stop. But it's a unique color for us.
Yeah.
But it is blue is the color of trafficking. Fighting trafficking. January, that's our month. So if you're ever planning anything big in blue, we're blue all January. It's
wonderful.
It's a anti-trafficking month. So yeah. Well, good, Ramesh. That is the show, and appreciate you coming on. And we'll probably have you back in the future.
Absolutely.
There's going to be lots more shows up ahead, and we appreciate everything you're doing, your availability and your engagement, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Surely. Thank you, David. Thank you for making time for me and allowing me to be here. A real privilege.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.